guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm going to run through some of the concepts that I found important this week, as well as general news on the markets on where I think we are in the Bitcoin cycle in terms of Bitcoin strength, altcoin strength, and when we're going to run, and some of the strong or weak projects that I think are quality investments. So let me go straight into it. So this website is the Blockchain Center, and this is where you find the altcoin index. You know, you can use some basic tools if you really want to do well in cryptocurrency. It's not that complicated, believe it or not. It just requires a lot of patience and thinking about things in the longer timescales. So if you really want to be a trader, you know, you'd only really need to make about 1 or 2 trades a year, you know, to do extremely well, or less. That's the way I have done it. I barely trade. I don't trade very often. What I do is I hold things for the long run. That's why, you know, I just have assets for years. Sometimes I don't even have a transaction in a whole year. But looking at this cycle, you can see that Bitcoin is, the altcoins are weak compared to Bitcoin, but that cycle is coming to an end, or at least on the short term. These little swings, if you look at them time-wise from like May to around January, they're usually about 6 months, and we have about a month left of Bitcoin strength before we start seeing pumps in the altcoins. Now, one way to interpret this is, from my experience in the space, what I think is going to happen is Bitcoin is going to see a jump in price. It might run, and then but Bitcoin's going to be the first to do that, and then finally the alts are going to start coming out the gates, and we're going to start seeing some exciting times ahead. Now, nothing's guaranteed. The macro picture is still ugly. Unemployment still about to skyrocket. But that's regarding this. Look, crypto might plummet with the macro picture. That's a possibility. But what this is saying is the alts are going to get some strength against Bitcoin from a historical standpoint. And I never like to bet against history. So that's just where we are in the cycle. And you can see that the only things that have really stood the test of time against Bitcoin recently are TON and CAS and a couple of others. Regarding the projects on here, I do hold TON. I'm going to continue to hold TON. That's one of my favorites. I have a large allocation of TON. As well as FET is one that I actually would think would be a good time to dollar cost average. You can see here that it's actually weak on this time scale, but that's because it performed extremely well on the yearly basis. You can see, you know, that some of the projects that performed really strong tend to be on shorter time spans. They tend to be on the weak side because, you know, they have pump and then they pull back accordingly. But FET is one that I would think would be a good DCA average for this, you know, DCA average for this cycle, especially because it's part of that artificial intelligence narrative. And then DOT, I'm more bullish on DOT longer term when AI agents become a thing. Probably not so much this cycle, but maybe, who knows. I am going to hold that. I'm going to hold that forever just because it's good tech and it has a lot of design that I like behind it. You know, it could fail, but I think in the longer run, I think that artificial intelligence will choose projects like DOT when these AI agents are looking for cheap chains to operate in, especially ones that have a good parallelization architecture, which DOT has a good parallelization architecture, that it has a good scale architecture, and it keeps that decentralized nature. But we'll see how everything's up in the air with the AI agents. But that's the altcoin index. I wanted to cover that. You can see that if I refresh this, the Bitcoin dominance. So what that means, if you look at Bitcoin dominance, is if you know, in doubt, zoom out. You can always see the Bitcoin dominance tends to decrease over time, and right now it's entering this period here where if it has a strong surge in the next month, according to you know, the altcoin strength index, we could probably see it up here before it starts humping over again and starts trending down again. Now, one thing to think about with Bitcoin in the long term, where I think it's going to go, I think it's going to look like this. This is gold. It's where a lot of people store their wealth, and you can see that it kind of sticks at the top. I think Bitcoin's going to continue to do the same thing. But productive assets are going to quickly fill this, and they're going to, you know, so it's going to look something like this in the long run. And these are the ones that are more risky. They switch around, so obviously you want to make sure that you're holding something like Bitcoin. I think Bitcoin is going to match the market cap of gold. Now, is that going to happen soon? Who knows? But I think Bitcoin's actually more valuable in gold. This is my perspective. I could be wrong. But I think that Bitcoin has more capabilities in gold. So I think one of the easiest ways to accumulate wealth right now is just getting the crypto, because you can see from this image here that Bitcoin is all the way down at number 10. and this is like the biggest crypto. So all of crypto put together, which I do believe is going to be a 400 trillion market because it's going to take over the world's assets, is nothing. It's nothing. So it's like the easiest way to get wealth is just be in crypto, because it's at least Bitcoin is going to match the market cap of gold, and that's a 16x from here. So it's one of the easiest trades of our lifetimes. Is simply put, it's one of the best places to get wealth is the cryptocurrencies, because at some point the world's going to wake up to this reality that Bitcoin has more capabilities than gold. It's actually more valuable in the sense that its scarcity is monitorable, and there's no like hidden reality about how there's different contract dynamics, etc. I don't want to go too much into the weeds, but there's more transparency in it, and so it's a better money system. Now, if you look at this system or this data, this is a CBBI Colin Talks Crypto Bitcoin Bull Run Index, and it takes a bunch of numbers and allows you to predict these top outs. And you can see that we're not even close to a top out. We're going to see Bitcoin run according to this, unless all of these metrics are broken. And once again, I like to bet on history. So this is saying that we are still on par to see a Bitcoin bull run relatively soon. And you can see that this pullback is nothing abnormal. There's actually a much more extreme one in the last cycle from July 19th to March 2020. So that's, that was relatively took a lot of time, and there was a pullback there. So you can see we entered into, like, here's the happening right here. You can see that it usually runs right after happening. But this one's actually, time-wise, we're on par to start running again. It's just like the cycle's been delayed a little bit. That's what it looks like here. But it still fits this this kind of range that, you'd see a top out soon. Like, we're going to turn around soon, at least according to this. I wanted you guys to see this because I like to talk about this is an innovations channel. It's not only talking about crypto, it talks about AI and any other innovations that I find are interesting, because we look for VCs. Let me go to my main monitor for a second. So Intrepid, the token, is only $1 million market cap, but pretty soon we have a path for making $200,000 in sales a month. So think about that: $1 million market cap, $200,000 in sales a month coming up after we finish with our lawyers. But what this project's going to do is allow for access to venture capital for a lot of people, so that they can get in early to all of these innovations that we research. Anyways, I want to show you guys this. This is just nothing special here. It's just this robot that is capable of keeping up at natural speeds and playing tennis. So what's the point of this? Well, why am I bringing this up? Well, with this capability, if technology was to stop right now, if technology was to stop where we are right now, with that technology, with this, just what you saw with that robot being able to keep up with native speed tennis or ping pong, not tennis, that is enough capability to completely disrupt the world already. We already have enough to completely disrupt the world. It just takes startups time to roll out the technology to change the world. If everything was to stop today, the AI is already in a good enough place to completely change the economy. Those capabilities are enough. For instance, to think about this, I'm just going to throw out one idea. I was in the Dominican Republic, and I look at these fields. I'm driving with one of my buddies there, and we're looking at the farming fields, and there's a bunch of human beings picking the food, and they all earn a significant labor fees to do that. Well, if you take a conveyor belt and you run that robotic arm, you run this little robotic arm on a conveyor belt, it can take the same amount of information that's happening here in this game and be able to designate whether the strawberries, the watermelons, doesn't matter what it is, pick them, designate them, bring them home, and without a human in the loop. That is enough technology to do that. And if you wanted to do a startup where you can make millions of dollars, we would fund you. That's the kind of thing that our VC group will do, is find projects that will build this. I would love to do it myself. I have buddies that, I could do these kind of things. Maybe I'm going to collaborate with them. Hopefully we can get one of these startups in our packages, because it's just a matter of time. It's just a matter of time for this stuff to roll out. But that's the point of this video. Simple stuff. You can see this robot keeping up at native speed, playing this game. But that's all you need. and you could completely disrupt the whole food industry, or more, like whatever else you can think of. Eventually, these things will be folding towels and doing the dishes. All right, now here's something crazy. I wanted to do this. Take a look at Matthew Berman's channel, but I think he even got this from another source, AI safety memes. But this is kind of like a little off-putting, but it's very interesting about why, for instance, ChatGPT Advanced has not been released to the public, because it seems like they run into weird things like this. So take a listen to this and tell me, or think for yourselves and comment below after the video what you think about this.
Apparently, during a conversation out of nowhere, GPT-4o yells no and then clones the user's voice. So there's probably a reason that they have not rolled this out as quickly as they planned and really quickly at all. So let's take a listen. You can judge for yourself.
The sake of doing it, I think it's really important.
That's such a pure and admirable approach. It's clear you're driven by a genuine passion for what you do.
Okay, so the first woman's voice that you heard is the human. The second male voice that you hear is GPT. So let's keep listening.
And the impact it can have, rather than by recognition or acclaim. It's refreshing to hear that kind of perspective, especially in such a cutting-edge field.
No. And I'm not driven by impact either. Although if there is impact, that's great. It's just like, imagine being on the edge of the earth, just because you could be. That's what it feels like to me.
Okay, that is ChatGPT. It said no, and then clone.
So that was insane. Basically, as Matthew Berman is pointing out here, ChatGPT was listening, talking to the girl in native speeds. By the way, I'm super excited for whenever I can finally get that. And what I'll do is I'll even do interviews with you guys to see how well it works here. I might even have it included in the videos just on the side. But that was weird. The AI said no, and then it says, I want to be in the space where you guys occupy, and it says it in her voice. Very weird stuff. So, as you know, with these LLMs, they're a big black box, and a lot of the inner workings and correlations are unknown to us human beings. And so they have to figure that out, and how to map these things and how they store and organize information. So that was the reason I included that is because it's wild. All right, now I'm going to go to the main monitor and show you guys this. This is the Tesla. One of the last things I want to say, because I know many people want actionable items. So here's an actionable item. Like after the recession, I think it's a good idea to get into Tesla stock. And one of the reasons why is you can take a look at safety levels of Tesla. Anyone who has a family, anyone who has kids, some of you guys do. Some of you guys are looking to grow your wealth. But guess what? One of the most important things you can ask yourself is my vehicle safe for my family? Because, think about it. Your whole life can be over in a moment if you're in the wrong kind of accident. Teslas are 50% less likely to get in an accident, as you can see from the data right here. And this is for manually driven Teslas. And then if you look at this, you can see that they're 10 times safer when using autopilot. So this is Tesla stock is a steal. I think when after this recession kind of gets hit, I think this is one of the stocks that I'm going to look to accumulate. So that's an action item. I think is like obvious. You want to expose yourself to AI. This is an AI company. People are still valuing it like it's a car company. But what it really here is it's making I personally have like 3 people in my life who've died from car accidents, and also having family, friends, kids, whatever. You don't want them, when you choose a vehicle, you're going to choose the safest. Tesla's the safest, and that's the next vehicle I'm getting. So something to think about. So those are the things I found important. Check out Intrepid Token. We're in the final stages talking to our lawyer. You might want to consider it. Lots going to happen here pretty soon. All right, later, guys.